I get it from Mark.
That's such a neat. Just kidding. Ooh, sunshine at 11 is the town part of it. Gun crabgrass and
This is for future then.
Yeah, you have to.
This isn't
have to
tonight.
keep it. Okay, that's good.
Do you want me to write on it?
Guys are all set? He's, oh, where is he?
Excuse me.
You might want to wait for your lawyer.
We can,
No, we don't want to.
Microphones are
you
on.
got the mics on?
Mics are on.
Mics are on? Okay. Why don't we go ahead and start? They're out there talking, so we can go ahead and he'll be in.
Yep.
All right, our attorney is out in the hall, they're talking out there, so we can get started. 7 o'clock, I'd like to welcome you to the planning board meeting. We have about 7 items on the agenda this evening, so hopefully we go through it and get along with it fairly well and fairly soon. So would you join in a pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Catherine, you want to call the roll, please?
Sure. Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Kashani.
Here.
Mr. Giardina.
Here.
Mr. Vetter.
Here.
Mr. Malta.
Here.
Mr. Gassick.
Here.
Mr. Artuso. Ms. Corsi. Here.
Yeah, I believe Josh is out. He's in the hall.
Okay.
Talking. As Frank is. Okay, with that, I guess we can get started. Mark, you want to start with the first item?
Best Buy Auto Sales Edition located at 771 Ridge Road. The applicant, Alan Maletti, is requesting preliminary final site plan approval with a public hearing in association with the construction of approximately 2,826 square foot accessory structure for auto repair on a 1.73 acre parcel located in a medium-intensity commercial district under sections 269-11 and 350-18 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Gentlemen,
Good afternoon.
good evening.
Good evening, I should say. My name's Ian Cookman. I'm with McMahon LaRue Associates, civil engineer, representing the applicant, Best Buy Auto, looking to construct a 2,800 square foot accessory structure out back, the primary structure at 771 Ridge Road. The intended use of the building is accessory to the main operations, which is a used car dealership. And the building would allow operations to maintain and service vehicles that are sold through the dealership, elongating that full customer service that every auto dealership seeks to achieve with their clients and their customers. We were before the board a couple of months ago for sketch review, and we took a lot of that feedback, updated our plans. We were supposed to come back last month, but were dropped due to some miscommunication errors with the Webster Herald, so we weren't able to get a public hearing. But we are here today in an attempt to combine preliminary final for your review tonight. As I said, we did update the site plans, and we've included some elevations and grading to denote some of the drainage concern that Town Engineering Department had, primarily the pond, who owns the pond, what we're going to do with the pond ultimately. The pond, if you guys are looking at the screen, we can go to sheet 3 of 5. Shows, yep, there you go. Shows approximately where that pond is out back our proposed accessory structure there. You can see that pond straddles an existing property line. Half of it is on our applicant's property, the other half is on the neighbor, who would be Thomas Landscaping. So we're showing on our plans the maintenance of that pond. We're proposing a formalized easement that would provide some demarcation for some future maintenance agreement, either a private maintenance agreement between the two neighbors, or if the town were interested, some sort of maintenance agreement with the town. We're open to suggestions on that front. Either way, there is a short-term plan to maintain that pond and rehabilitate or restore the intended capacity. Also to clean out the outlet pipe to make sure that there's no potential for upstream flooding situations.
Does that pond, I'm sorry, does that pond actually work now? I mean, obviously, if you put a building there, that's in what is there now currently, either way, it's impervious surface.
Yeah, it's still
So,
functioning
is
as,
it taking care of the water as it stands?
yeah, there's no flooded conditions. The building that Best Buy Auto operates out of right now has a basement that, you know, doesn't flood. It's got walkout windows that functions fine. But again, while we have construction equipment there, excavating for footings and whatnot, there's an opportunity here to maintain this pond and make sure that it's in good working condition. From a stormwater standpoint, we're not proposing to increase total impervious area of the site, so we're not proposing to generate any new overall volume of runoff. So the capacity of the pond, if restored to its original dimensions and elevations, should be adequate. And total site disturbance is less than an acre, so an erosion sediment control and stormwater pollution prevention plan shouldn't be required. The accessory structure is going to have floor drains. So we're proposing an oil water separator that has been reviewed by the town sewer department. We've received their comments and have sized it according to our proposed use. Tony, we did take a look at some of the landscaping. That was one of your comments during sketch. We're showing on our site plan the existing landscaping. We're showing where we're going to be removing one tree, but we're also going to be preserving another tree right next to it. And then you had asked about property line location. If you were to go out to the site and look at the overhead power poles, those are right on the property line, which shows a pretty healthy vegetative strip between our parking lot and our neighbor's parking lot. Best Buy Auto just invested pretty significantly in improving the landscaping along the road frontage, and the plan is to maintain that and, you know, continue to promote that curbside appeal. I think those are really the highlights of what we're presenting here. Like I said, we received comments during sketch. We received comments during preliminary application. Although we didn't have a public hearing, we still did receive town comments. We responded to those comments. We received comments last week or the week before. We've responded to those comments as well. So, you know, best faith effort to try to cooperate and respond to the town the best we can in an attempt to receive some sort of an approval with conditions, of course, to make sure that all stakeholders are coming out of this
And let me just run through some of the things that we did speak, we did talk about at the meeting, and then you can, yes or no, they're in there or they're not. You already hit, and again, I agree, your landscaping, your front, that's always looked fairly decent out there, so. We increase the vegetation buffer along the west side of the property, show the paving limits and parking striping on the plans. Is that on there?
Yes.
You can have that, okay. Include a dumpster enclosure details?
Yep.
You got that. All right, include wall pack lighting details on the building elevations and on sheet C 301, the lighting and paving details,
Yep.
so that's included. Site data table to include total overall number of parking spaces. So ultimately, at the end, you want to stripe what is supposed to go in there, and that'd be the maximum
Yes.
number of cars on the site. Add distance measurement between the existing and proposed buildings. I guess that was something, Drozen, that I think you asked that,
Yeah,
didn't
it's
you?
good. It's in there.
Yeah. And, let's see, a distance measure, and provide overall landscape plans, which you've done, so you're good with that. Now, the only question I've got on it, you're gonna run water in there, you're gonna have a sink, and why aren't you putting a bathroom in there?
We are,
Oh,
you
are proposing one?
yeah, it was questionable
Oh, I
at
know there
first,
wasn't one
yeah,
before, okay.
yeah.
I think
Yep.
that's common sense to
Yeah.
do that once,
Might as well while we're in there.
Sure,
Yep.
absolutely, okay. All right, anybody, any questions? I know engineering's got some questions and stuff. Board members, any comments? Those are the things we asked for to be included in the drawings.
Well, the one thing that is new on here is the fact that the pond is being shown with work done on an adjacent parcel.
It's what?
There's work being shown on an adjacent parcel, and right now, we don't have any acknowledgement that there's actually an easement or an agreement to do that work on the adjacent parcel.
Yeah,
So I'm
for
not
for
sure
your,
how we could approve work on somebody else's land.
yeah, that's a weird one because there was an easement originally shown there. The easement was never filed. So, I think we're gonna have to get creative with maybe the town's help to figure out how to actually
Right.
file that easement. Worst case scenario, there's,
What has Thomas Landscaping said?
yeah, we've had discussions with them
And
and
they have
we talked to them several months ago, we talked to them today, and they're on board with maintaining that. It's to their benefit as well.
I think the solution to that is simply get a document from them,
Yes.
something stating that they're in agreement with it, granting you the easement to come on and, do the maintenance on it,
Yes,
and provide that to the town,
yes.
prior to a C of O.
Even though there's not a formal easement in place, there is a by right implicit easement that exists on any parcel. If there's something on your parcel that, like a utility or an ingress, egress, that allows me to get from my property to the right-of-way, there's an implicit easement that allows me to go and maintain whatever that utility is. In this case, it would be stormwater. So there is an implicit easement, but of course, we're gonna make that as explicit and formalized as possible. Again, either through private conversation or through the town if necessary.
That's something new to me, I've never heard of that, so.
It was new to me until my surveyors explained it to me. It's a
Can we
legal
just
thing.
approve it subject to the filing of an easement
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
neighboring property?
We're happy
Yeah,
with
that's-
that. Yep,
That's probably makes it easier.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
How do we make sure it gets filed?
They can't do it unless they,
No, it's how do we make sure it gets filed? Because
and filed.
this area has a history of, this has the word proposed private easement for storm maintenance, and then 5 years it comes back. Find out the easement was never filed because the word proposed is on there.
How about we just say, subject to the signing and filing of an easement? Does that work? I think if you put that subject to approval, I think that'll work.
It should.
Yeah,
Approval isn't
We'll say
complete unless it's
signing and
done.
filing of an easement.
and I know Tuya said the area is less than an acre, but you have a sign on here that says proposed total impervious area is an acre.
Yeah, that's
So-
total site, so the whole frontage of the site isn't gonna be disturbed.
Correct, so you are putting in a pond that deals with a site that has been disturbed for over an acre?
Active disturbance is
So
gonna be
it's-
less than an acre. We're just putting up a pole barn. All the parking in the rear is existing gravel. We're just gonna be putting down
Limits of
asphalt.
proposed standard duty asphalt. So the drawing is showing that the site's being paved with asphalt. So that's disturbance.
There's not gonna be any soil disturbance. There's not
Yeah,
gonna
but
be a,
you're now putting in an impervious surface, the asphalt on the site.
correct,
So
yep.
to
Yeah,
do
we're-
that, so now you have to have the SWIP and the stormwater prevention.
We're
plan.
including
and that whole thing.
we're including the pavement as part of our disturbance calculations. We're
So it
not
says-
asphalting the whole site, just the portion demarcated on our plan.
Okay, but I'm seeing the note that clearly says an acre. So it seems to me that this site is subject to having a SWIP, particularly since you are going over on the adjacent parcel too.
Yeah, the reason why we're showing the acre is to show that our total impervious is remaining the same.
I guess, does engineering accept that it's something we gotta, know before we
So
do any
we,
kind of movement
we've
on this?
accepted we've requested and they've provided what we call a modified SWIP. Essentially, they're fulfilling, components of the permit, SWIP permit is necessary, so we're okay with that. What I would like to see as part of this is not only the easement, the drainage easement, but we need to also have a maintenance agreement as well. So we need to have so those have to go part and parcel with each other. Those are important.
And the two pipes coming in, there is a note on here saying that, the one that's being jet cleaning, there's a comment saying that it goes over to a swale on an adjacent parcel. Where does the other pipe start from? The one heading north out of the pond. I see it going up towards the landscaping area and just kind of ending. So what's that actually tied into?
That ties into the other property owner's catch basin, and it's coming into the pond, it's inletting into the pond.
Where is that other catch basin?
I was gonna say, make a note of that, just.
I don't know who's controlling the mouse. Do you see behind the landscaping to the top of the page there, Josh? Yeah, follow that up. Continue to follow that up.
Oh, so the
Right.
sewer is underneath the trees? Okay.
The storm drainage pipe,
Yeah, the proposed trees that are on the front of landscaping.
those are existing, and that's an existing
That's right
storm
underneath
line.
it.
Yeah. All of
And-
that is it's not part of the project. It's existing.
Does that line function too?
What's that?
And how much runoff is coming from the adjacent parcel into this pond?
It's really just a quarter of that parcel, so the front part of the site that's closest to our property line. So there's a ridge on the other side of the parcel, heads to west towards the right-of-way.
As long as engineering's fine with putting this off before they have a chance to review those calculations for the runoff and the volume on it.
We are. Yep, like I said, as long as we have the easement, drainage easement, and the maintenance agreement, however that's arrived at between the two property owners. Because we will identify this as a pond that needs a yearly inspection.
So with that included, as far as engineering, you're okay? All right, okay. Anybody else, board members, any questions or
No.
concerns on this? Pretty much they put in everything we've asked for preliminary. Okay, I'll go open it then. This is a public hearing. If there is anyone here wishing to speak either for or against this project? Not seeing anyone. Okay, then in that case, then we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. Anybody?
Nope.
Sven? You comfortable with, you've looked at it, I'm sure. Okay, then we can move forward with it if everybody's all right with it, I guess. They've been in, how many times have you been in now? A few times, I guess. Somebody want to make a motion to this? Dave, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion
All right,
that
go ahead.
Best Buy Auto Sales Edition.
Do you need seeker beforehand?
What's that?
Probably ought to do
Yeah, we
seeker
do the
first.
secret.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You're
Project
right.
the gun.
I'm trying to push it here. Hurry up.
So the building's less than 4,000 square feet, so. The Town of Webster Planning Board consider a request by applicant Alan Millet, is that how you say it? Sorry. Okay, thank you. For construction of an approximately 2,826 square foot accessory structure for Best Buy Auto Sales located at 771 Ridge Road on a 1.73 acre parcel having SBL number 079.17-1-T1.11, located in the MC Medium Intensity Commercial District. The planning board classifies a proposed action as a type 2 action under section 617C9, 617.5C9 of the State Environmental Quality Review Regulations, and therefore is not subject to further review.
Okay, that being a motion, need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're good. All right, Dave, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll make a motion for preliminary site plan approval for Best Buy Auto Sales Edition at 771 Ridge Road for the construction of approximately 2,826 square foot accessory structure for auto repair on a 1.73 parcel. And it's subject to PRC comments, subject to a letter of credit posted with the Town of Webster, if applicable, subject to Monroe County Water Authority comments, subject to determination of ZBA if there's any variances. I don't believe there are. All improvements shall be constructed according to the specification of the Town of Webster. All site work be in compliance with the standards of the Town of Webster. Comply with all requirements of any state, county, or town agency. Address drainage, lighting, signage, landscaping, buffering, berming, and snow storage. Landscape, hardscape site accessories, and associated finished grading design for the development. Approvals, we also want to put in the easement.
Yeah, I'd like to make sure that the drainage easement is
Here, let's put
added
it, let's use this here.
and the private maintenance agreement.
Assigned and filed maintenance and drainage easement with the neighboring property located at 775 Ridge Road to be included.
Okay,
Okay, Dave will put that in also.
yep,
I think also put in, just to reiterate, the comments that were made that I just read off there before. There's a list of them that we did when they were in for sketch plan, that they're included. I guess they've got them in there, but we'll take and copy them, just have them in there so to make sure that when it's reviewed, we see them in there, you know? Okay? All right. Okay,
okay.
Dave, go ahead.
Approvals are subject to drawing number. C200.
That's that drawing.
Yeah.
So you should probably just do the March 17th drawing set.
March 17th drawing set?
Yeah.
Okay.
For project number 25-0166.
Okay.
Excuse me, we did receive a more updated plan set with a different date, dated 4/6/26.
Yeah, 4626.
4626?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, and we'll proceed to final approval.
Okay, that's a motion for preliminary approval. Need a second for it?
Second.
You want to call the roll, please?
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Vedder?
Aye.
Mr. Gassick?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye. All right,
Okay.
the application is actually, they're in here for, also for final approval. You're okay with it? Move forward? All right,
I'm
well,
good.
Dave, you're on a roll. Why don't you go ahead?
Yep.
You want to make a motion for final
Okay, I'll make a
approval?
motion for final approval for Best Buy Auto Sales addition at 771 Ridge Road, subject to project review committee comments, subject to any parks and recreation fees if applicable, subject to preliminary approval conditions, subject to all applicable government fees, subject to Department of Public Works approvals. Significant construction shall occur within 1 year, is deemed by the planning board to expire on April 7, 2027. Conditions of the preliminary and final approval are depicted on the cover page of the final design plans. Engineer for proposed project shall provide a letter of certification that all proposed work was completed as per planning board resolution of final approval before a certificate of occupancy will be issued. Are they going to have a letter of credit for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. A letter of credit to the town for the project shall include the fee for the engineer's final certification inspection of the site. All stormwater water facilities to be constructed first. Downspouts, where are they going?
No.
You connected to the storm sewer?
No?
Subject to resolution of final approved minutes. Approvals are subject to the drawing, same as the preliminary.
Reiterate the pond,
What's that?
reiterate the easement. That's again.
Yeah, the easement as cited in the preliminary approval.
Now,
It needs to be done prior to cert.
To me, the key part of this for final approval is subject to all appropriate governmental fees, subject to engineering and governmental approvals, site work is in compliance with the standards of the town, so on and so forth. There's also a statement in there that money is held for final approval by the engineer for the project. So that's something, I don't know if we're following very closely, but I think it's something we need to absolutely follow. And that should be part of the monies set aside that pay for the engineer to go back, review that everything that he did on his drawings are done adequately. Okay? So I just want to reiterate that just so that we stay on the same page. We've had that in there, but I don't know if it always gets followed, so. Anyways, put that in there too, you got it, Dave. Okay, that's your motion?
That's
Need a
it.
Second?
Second?
Second.
I did.
Oh, okay, Josh.
Mark, Drowsy?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Gassick?
Aye.
Mr. Vetter?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye. Okay, you're all set. Good luck with your project.
Next item on tonight's agenda, Waterview Phase 3, located at 0 Willow Point Way. The applicant, Legacy Development Company, is requesting a one-year final site plan approval extension, along with a public hearing associated with the proposed construction of 6 two-story townhouse-style buildings consisting of a total of 56 residential units and 1 community center on a 13.5-acre parcel located in a medium-high residential district under Section 269-17 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Chris Nadler, General Counsel for Mark IV Enterprises. I'm here today with Ed Martin from Passrow and our friend Randy Jackson. Thank you for having us. It's hard to believe it's been a year since I was last here. We are here for extension or a renewal of the site plan approval that you did grant us a year ago. We have one condition, the jurisdictional determination from the DEC that's outstanding. Other than that, all conditions have been satisfied or will be satisfied, and no conditions, or the conditions at the site have not changed. So we're here asking for a renewal. I'll turn it over to Ed Martin, who can give you the background and where we are with the DEC on getting that jurisdictional determination.
Thanks, Chris. So as you probably are aware, the DEC changed their wetland regs in January of 2025. They're taking a much greater role in small wetlands, which historically have been under the control of the Army Corps of Engineers. So we have done a delineation. The wetlands are west of our development area No proposed disturbance is included in these plans. We have received a verbal from the DEC that they're going to issue a non-jurisdictional determination indicating that no permitting is required from them. So they're overworked and understaffed, so we're just waiting for that. Steve Miller from the DEC has indicated that they're granting the JD, stating that there's no permits required. So we're just in a holding pattern.
Okay. All right, again, you're here just to continue the process basically for another year. Now, I know there are, I think, Keith, you had some concerns on it, there's some engineering details. You met with them? Hey, whoever wants to address. Go ahead.
Yeah, some additional information was recently brought to our attention by a sewer department employee that we were not privy to last year. And that concern stems from a existing 30-inch sanitary trunk line that runs north-south through the site. It is owned by Monroe County and connects up to the McEwen Pump Station. However, when it crosses the Penfield Webster Town border, the segment on this property, the town is responsible for repair and maintenance. So some concerns were expressed due to the condition of the pipe. It does take approximately 2 million gallons of flow per day, primarily from Penfield. It is 60 years old and it's about 20 feet down. So the concern was that this project proposes to tap into that line, and not sure that it, with its age and material, that it can withstand something like that without potentially creating an issue.
So I guess that poses the question now, and we know you already got final approval last year and you're coming back for an extension on that. But if you could try to answer, what type of assurance can the town have relative to that pipe when you guys are actually doing the project?
That's a good question, Mr. Chardy, and the answer is the same assurances that the town had when this board granted final site plan approval last year. There will be a letter of credit. The town engineer's signatures are required on the final plans. We can work out the specific details as to what's needed in a letter of credit prior to commencing construction. And I think we've worked well with Keith on this process so far, and we're happy to continue doing so.
Do you have to get permission from Pure Waters then?
I think they need to sign or stamp the plans.
So they already signed off on it as part of the, that's good.
Does that satisfy engineering all right, or?
So the only thing that we've also made aware of is that the, there is an easement for this sanitary line, and the storm chamber that's being installed is right against that easement. So in the event that the county or the town ever had to get in there to do repair work on that, that line, there is a potential that there would be an impact to that stormwater chamber. So the town would like to be indemnified from any damages that would occur as a result of that repair work, should it ever have to happen.
Okay.
And I think the easement language would already include that, I would imagine. And again, we'll work with Keith prior to signatures on the plan to ensure that that easement already contains that indemnification language.
Does that satisfy you guys on engineering? I know this whole project has been very controversial. It's been through the loops, that's for sure, but these are new things now that
You know, and it was controversial. It's been controversial.
Yeah.
For 15 years, I've been coming here, and it's been controversial, but, and not to say the neighbors are thrilled about having new development, but the McEwen Road neighbors, you know,
Yeah.
at our last meeting, were not, you know, they didn't egg my car. We had nice chats. You know, I think between this board, the zoning board, town staff, Josh and Keith, we really were able to bring it to a, you know, good project that the neighbors will be able to tolerate and live with, and that this town and the developer can be proud of.
Okay. So, board
So,
going to.
so now you have to open the public hearing, and I'm hoping that there's not a bunch of neighbors with pitchforks after I just said that.
And again, are there folks here in regard to this? All right, again, it is a public hearing, I'll just re-ask you, we'll give you 3 minutes to explain what your situation is, and I'm gonna ask you a favor. If one person says and covers one topic, don't have to cover the topic 3 and 4 times. Go ahead.
I understand. I'm Dave Geyer. I live at 400 McEwen Drive, and I do have a pitchfork. So, and I wish you would not put words in our mouths because that we're satisfied with this project, because that's not true. There was one open item from last year's agenda that Mr. Anderson raised, and I would like to know if that's been resolved, which was the dock permit was supposed to be canceled and revoked. And Mr. Nadler and Mr. Kasani and Mr. Anderson all agreed that that would be done. And I have the minutes from that meeting from last year. And I was wondering if that had been revoked and no longer applicable.
I don't, Chris?
I don't remember that, but I don't know if it's been revoked or not.
Okay.
Call the DEC.
Okay, that was supposed to be, according to the minutes, action taken by the town to do that, so.
It seems to me, the answer to that at the time was,
Well, the town was gonna send a letter to DEC saying that
Yeah,
as part of the approval.
but I think their comment, could be wrong, was that at that time, there was no application or anything to do, that piece of the property had nothing to
No,
do
no, no,
with the.
The whole dock thing is that permit has been renewed administratively for several years.
Yeah,
And they go through the process of making sure that it's
still
been
holding.
renewed. So that dock permit is still out there and it's been, you know, DEC has it. DEC has made the comment that since there are certain covenants that were in the conditions of that permit with this development and the disturbance on the site, as part of the conditions on it, that they've actually violated the covenants of that permit, so therefore it would be null and void. But we need to, as a board, we had agreed to notify DEC that, okay, you know, this is being approved in the permit. You know, you don't keep saying it's not part of the project, but it actually is, because it's part of the overall development, that permit is null and void.
Who do you feel should be contacting DC, the town or the applicant or?
The town.
The town?
I'm pretty sure that our office did contact them. I can double check and confirm that tomorrow when I get back into the office. I just can't recall right now.
Well, okay, if you have, that's good, but if not, that
We
can be
will.
done.
Correct.
Okay, all right,
I appreciate that.
okay.
And I will continue to say that the number of precedents associated with this project, with having roads driveways that directly access a residential road, and also the poor utilization of property using only 4 acres out of 13 for development, really crams a lot of housing onto a very small area, and it does not meet the medium housing requirement. You're actually putting 14 units per acre onto the 4 acres they're going to develop. And I just think it's not a good precedent. The 2 precedents are not good for the town of Webster.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you know, this is all stuff that we dealt with.
I understand.
I'm not gonna argue
I've been
with
here right with
that's
you,
for
so-
sure, but,
so,
you know,
I
It's what
understand.
it is, it got approved, whatever
Yep.
the comments were and stuff.
I understand.
It's at this stage now, but I appreciate your
The
comments.
project's been long, and I know you got frustrated last
Oh, okay.
session because this has dragged on so long. I
Yeah.
think that's just indicative that this is a bad project for Webster.
Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate it, thank you. Anyone else wishing to?
Dorothy Fate. Planning Board members, thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. I'd like to express...
Excuse me, Dorothy, just 1 second. Coincidence you got up. I'm holding your letter right in my hand here right now. You sent us a letter,
Yeah.
just for the meeting. It was supposed to be on March 3rd.
Yeah? Fine.
So anyways, what I'm gonna do with it, I'm
All
gonna
right,
enter it into
I
the
would
record
express
here.
my opposition to granting a one-year extension on the Willow Point 2 project's final site plan review. The Webster Town Board is considering a vote on a development moratorium until such time as a comprehensive plan is completed and zoning regulations are updated in compliance with that plan. The current site is covered by an E-pod for steep slopes. The comprehensive plan will be guiding new regulations regarding development of fragile environmental parcels. And as such, this project, which failed to make any significant site developments to date, should be required to present its plans when the new regulations are in place. I would also challenge the Planning Board's prior determination that Willow Point expansion is an unlisted action and as such did not require a long EAF. The Planning Board has the authority to classify this project as a type 1 based on the steep slope that is being developed. This project site plan has presented shows one of the buildings on property covered by the E-pod. Also, it appears that a retention pond may be relocated from its currently approved location to the parcel that is covered by the E-pod. Visiting the location shows a heavily wooded and very steep slope on the sandy slopes up down to Irondequoit Bay. I contend this property requires all the protections afforded a type 1 seeker review, and that the Planning Board should review this development request again in the future when our regulatory framework, our zoning ordinances, our subdivision regulations, and related land use laws have been updated. Currently, they have not kept pace with the evolving needs of our community or with the modern leading-edge practices in environmental protection and sustainable planning. Following the most recent heavy rains in the town of Irondequoit experienced the erosion of steep slopes on the Irondequoit Bay watershed at Carlson Road, south of 104. The steep slopes near Irondequoit Bay need to be protected. The Planning Board should, as its authority allows, deny the requested extension. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there was another gentleman. Oh, there you are. I didn't see it.
There we go. Hi, how are you folks? I'm Charlie. I'm also on McEwen Drive. Really, my question is more about the actual jurisdiction that I think you said you have word that that's approved. What I'm asking the board to ask is for a timeline. When was the jurisdictional determination filed? What's the process? Was it approved originally? Was it denied? As you all know, this project's been going back and forth for years before I even moved there. Part of the original approach was to kind of piggyback on a approval that was, I think, 1985, right? So really what I'm getting at here is these extensions, these projects, they keep coming back for this particular piece of land. I'm asking the board to put more restrictions, dates, specific dates, timelines in terms of when they should be required to get the actual jurisdictional determination from the DEC as a condition of any extension that you grant today. So,
Okay, thank
fair
you,
enough?
Charlie.
Okay.
All right, is there anyone else wishing to speak in regard to this project? If none, then we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. Is there any thought to how long this is going to take, Chris, with- as far as your dealing with the DEC? The holdup on this whole thing has been the completion of the environmental issues with the DEC. And
Yeah.
like you said, they're lacking their own help, I guess.
Mark IV is as impatient as the town, and we've leaned on Passero, who's leaned on the DEC. They do have a verbal approval, is my understanding, and beyond that, I don't think we can predict. I can't imagine it's going to be much longer, but I can't predict or force the DEC to act. Well, within the one-year renewal, we'll absolutely you better get it done within that 1 year.
So can we do this, would this work for you guys if we extended it a year, but this would be the last year that it gets an extension?
Well, no, I mean,
I mean, we don't, you know, how.
no, I'd ask that we be allowed to have, what's allowed by code, because of the unpredictability of, so many factors when you're planning construction like this. I understand that previous projects have dragged on, but this is a new project, and I think we're entitled to what's allowed by code. We're leaning on Passrow, and Passrow's leaning on the DEC, and we hope to have an answer as soon as possible.
And just for the board's knowledge, there were several variances granted associated with this project that have since expired. So they actually have to go back to the zoning board to reapply for those variances. Yes. So just to factor that into any timing considerations that the board might be thinking of.
Okay, well, gentlemen, ladies, what do you want to do?
Well, I know from experience that dealing with the DEC in today's world is a nightmare. I've dealt with several projects, and you can't communicate with them. You can't get any timeline from them, and when they get it done, they get it done. And that's their attitude, and that's the way it is. So, very difficult to put a timeline on DEC.
No, I agree. We've had other projects that have been similar situations, but this one, I guess at the time right now, they're having issues with their department even, so that compounds it even more, so. Sven or Derek, anybody down that end?
No, I know full well the issues of dealing with DEC and the time frame it's taken them to do approvals,
Yeah,
particularly the wetland regulations.
yeah.
The fact that you got something verbal to me is kind of surprising. but
We've been leaning on them. They've been leaning. They're doing good.
I guess I have two questions. One, if the extension is rejected, what would be the next step? It would be a whole new application coming before
Well,
us?
they'd have
or-
to start from scratch all over again, the whole thing.
Okay, and then should we be holding off until zoning grants the variances again prior
No, I
to?
don't believe we have to do that. I think we can approve it, so then they do what they want, then it's, and quite honestly, I don't know why they put limitations on it at the zoning board, because the planning board that's the final plan. That's where it gets approved, so why are they come into doing it, I don't know.
I mean, it's approved within the 1 year period, so now they're asking for an extension, just like the variance needs technically an extension.
Yeah, but it's, I question that part, that's another whole issue, that question for several years. But anyways. Mark?
All I can think of when I think of the state of New York is hurry up and wait. And it appears that you're at the mercy, as Dave said, of the DEC. Not much you can do about it.
All right, then,
Unfortunately.
Based on that, I'm gonna make a motion that we grant a 1-year extension for the Waterview project to commence on, what's the date today, the 7th?
April
Yep.
7th.
7th, April 7th to April 7th, 2027.
I'll second it.
Doesn't our approval need to be contingent upon the zoning boards?
What's that?
Doesn't our approval need to be contingent upon the zoning board's approval of the variances?
I don't know, does it?
I think it would automatically be contingent there. We can't build it without those variances.
Right.
But we'd be happy to have a subjectivity of that, whatever makes you guys comfortable.
Suggesting we make our approval subject to the zoning boards.
Yeah, we can do that. All right. All right, so we'll make that motion subject to the ZBA's approval. All right. Need a second?
Second.
Have a second? I'm gonna call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Mock?
I'm sorry. One thing, I guess, this letter that's supposed to go to DEC.
What's that,
about-
Mark?
The correspondence to DEC checking on it to make sure that, the dock thing has been
Okay, we want to include that in there?
Include that in there,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
subject to that
All
letter
right,
being.
and that was the comment we made dealing with the DEC. You were going to check on them and,
Yes.
okay, well, all right. got it.
Sent if it hasn't already been sent. I don't want you to send 2 letters, right? I mean,
Well,
he's-
yeah, subject to verification
Yeah.
that the dock permit has been revoked by DEC.
No, subject to verification that Josh sent the letter. I can't control the DEC and what they're gonna do.
Well,
And I
no,
don't
they
think
could-
that was what was discussed at the previous at the last year's meeting.
Well, that was part of the
It was
thing.
that, it was that Josh was gonna send a letter of some sort.
Right,
I
you'll
don't,
send a letter saying that the permit has to be revoked because they didn't meet the conditions of the permit.
Review.
And
Okay.
I think that should be put into this resolution for the extension, till we get verification that they have revoked that permit.
Yeah, plus it can be entered in now since this is granting of the extension, so regardless of what was approved previously, you're asking for an extension right now, so this is the condition of this extension.
yeah, but so, and I don't wanna be argumentative, my understanding at the last, Josh was gonna send a letter, and that was what this board agreed to a year ago. Under New York State law and Webster Town Code, this board isn't allowed to impose new conditions on a renewal unless they relate to the renewal.
But it does relate to the renewal because that was something that was supposed to be done. And we're just verifying that it was done and that the permit has been pulled. If that's
But-
something
but I think
that's-
what was
if
supposed
that's
to be done-
something that's something that you're not agreeing to, then I don't know that we could extend this.
But
I guess what the
what
board
was
is-
supposed to be done at the last meeting was Josh was gonna send a letter, not, you can't impose a condition on me that the DEC is gonna do something. I don't have control over that. Right, the permit's set to expire at some point, I don't know, in the near future,
Well,
May,
the problem
June?
with the permit is that it's continuously being renewed administratively,
Okay,
which simply means that the applicant sends in and says, hey, could you renew this? And DEC says, okay.
okay.
They're
But so,
not really taking a close look at it because of their process. That's based on the discussions I had with the person at DEC.
And I do recall having verbal conversations directly with the DC about this matter. I can't recall if I sent a formal letter, but I do recall them saying that because of the condition associated with that permit and the re-subdivision of land that took place to facilitate this project, that since they can't meet the spirit of that condition, that it would null and void the permit. So they wouldn't entertain another extension because they are aware of the change that has occurred. But I will circle back with them and verify the status of that permit and ensure that they're aware that what the town's position is in regards to that.
Right, so-
That work okay?
Yeah, so, subject to verification.
Yeah, okay, so Josh,
Correspondence.
okay, so we'll put that in there to make sure it's clear. That Josh will contact the New York State DEC to verify the status of the docks. And probably should add in there too that we're granting the one-year extension, and part of that is subject to you negotiating with, negotiating with the DEC for the approval through their office,
understood.
which is the key to the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll put that in there too. All right, that was a motion, and Dave, you seconded?
Yeah.
So it was, Mr. Kashani.
Aye.
Mr. Malta.
Aye.
Mr. Giardina.
Aye.
Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Vetter. Mr. Gassick.
Aye.
Thank you very
Okay,
much,
you guys are all
appreciate
set.
it. Keith will be in touch, thank you, guys.
First scheduled item on tonight's agenda, United Buffet sign located at 941 Hard Road. The applicant, Jenny Z., is requesting sign approval associated with the installation of two 51.33 square foot front-lit channel letter wall-mounted signs on a 1.2 acre parcel located in a high-intensity commercial district under section 265-7 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I am not Jenny. I am filling in for Jenny.
Okay.
Chris
We didn't figure your
McCarthy.
name was Jenny, so go ahead.
Thank you. So, I'm just here to see if what Jenny submitted for her restaurant is acceptable. If not, I'm just here to collect the information of what needs to happen, because she'd really like to open this May 1st.
When does you want to open?
May 1st.
May 1st? Oh, that's good. Yeah, I see they've been working over there and stuff, so yeah. Looks good. Does this sign meets all the requirements, Josh?
Yes, it
Square
fits
footage?
within the allowable square footage, and we're honoring a past variance that had been granted to Bill Grays for having 2 signs on the building, because they're,
They're gonna get a variance for that?
no, we're honoring the previous variance
Oh,
that
the
was.
same ones where they got it? Okay.
Correct.
All right, I see. For anybody that's interested, what this is, the China Buffet, that's the old Bill Gray's building. So if you're right on Facebook, get it right. Don't put some crazy thing in there. This has been on the books here for a little bit now. And it's I guess, an Oriental buffet restaurant.
She sent me the menu so I can explain this.
Go ahead, we'll give you some commercial
So
time.
it's going to be featuring spectacular selection of foods, the hibachi grill, dessert collection, vegetarian and jumbo buffet, including largest restaurant, Webster surrounding area, have good selection of Asian, Asian American buffet, alternatives for healthy lifestyle compared to the area with fresh vegetables and toppings, dressings, made fresh daily, hibachi, meats, mixed vegetables. And we just say fresh fruit and pastries for dessert.
We gave her first commercial already, see that? Okay, that's good. I guess, everybody okay with the sign?
Yep.
It's pretty simple. Okay. Johnson, Jim, you guys okay with it? All right, so you want to make a motion for the sign?
We'll go with seeker.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Town of Webster Planning Board considered a request by applicant Jenny Zaid to install 2 51.33 square foot front lit channel letter wall mounted signs for United Buffet located at 941 Hard Road on a 1.2 acre parcel having SBL number 079.15-1-1.2. The planning board classifies the proposed action as a type 2 action under 617.5C2 of the state environmental quality review regulations and therefore is not subject to further review.
Okay, have a motion, need a second.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're good. All right. Motion for the approval of the sign?
I'll make a motion that we approve the sign for United Buffet located at 941 Hard Road with the installation of 2 51.33 square foot front-lit channel letter wall-mounted signs on a 1.2 acre parcel located in the HC High Intensity Commercial District
As presented.
as presented.
Okay, that's a motion, need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're good, I guess. Okay, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Next item on tonight's agenda, State Farm sign located at 1065 Ridge Road. The applicant, Chris Ross, is requesting sign approval associated with the installation of a 23.3 square foot internally illuminated channel letter wall-mounted sign on a 1.83 acre parcel located in a high-intensity commercial district under section 265-7 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir. This is a sign you want to put up, I guess?
Yes, please.
Okay, that was simple. Where do we go from here? We're deadlocked. Okay, what are you putting up? You're putting up, what is it, an insurance company, right? Yeah, State Farm.
Yes.
And you're proposing a sign on the monument sign in the front and the sign on the building, correct?
That's right.
Two different signs?
Mhm.
Okay. And they meet the requirements, Josh, for size and
Correct, yes.
the other one is already set back on the existing monument there. Okay. Don't have any issues with it. How's this lit? Is it gonna be lit?
Yes.
Well, you talk a lot too, don't you? How are you lighting this from the back?
I believe so, yes.
Is that lit from the back? Okay, and these are the colors it actually is, this red color?
Yes.
Okay, that conforms. Okay. Anybody have any issues?
Nope.
I'll do a seeker in it.
The Town of Webster Planning Board considered a request by Chris Ross to install a 23.33 square foot internally illuminated channel letter wall-mounted sign for State Farm located at 1065 Ridge Road on a 1.83 acre parcel having SPL number 079.16-1-24-21. The Planning Board classifies the proposed action as a type 2 action under section 617.5C2 of the State Environmental Quality Review Regulations, and therefore is not subject to further review.
Okay, a motion, need a second?
Second it.
Is there a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're good.
Front lit.
Somebody want to make a motion for final?
No, I was just gonna, sorry, mention, it's just, the drawing says front lit. You asked specifically if it was backlit, the drawings are saying front lit. LED.
On the building side?
Yeah, next to the A in the circle there,
Oh, yeah.
you see front lit, plexi-face channel letters.
Oh, that one down below it, it says illuminate, internally
When
illuminated.
you look at the drawing, though, you look at the drawing, it's lit from the back.
Yeah, it is.
Just saying the drawings are saying front lit, so.
Yeah,
LED.
you know, no, you're right, it does say that, I don't think that's correct, though.
What's,
If you look at the drawing,
Any reason why it says that?
there's the drawing of it
Yeah,
right there.
I had Vital Signs design this, so ideally, it's supposed to be lit so that it's,
In the
I
back,
don't-
Yeah,
yeah, I believe so.
inside, in other words, in the back,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, that's
we'll
where
just
the
make
drawing
that part of
shows.
the approval, that the sign is backlit,
Yeah,
internally illuminated.
front lit,
internally
back lit.
illuminated.
Okay.
Okay, it's gotta be lit from inside, because
Mhm.
there's no light shining on it, so it can't be front
Right.
lit.
Yeah, it says it at the top
It's
too.
internally lit,
It
is
says,
what it is.
it says above the sign, Tony, it says front lit channel letters with LED illumination, raceway mounted. See it?
Yeah, I know, I
Okay.
see that.
Okay, so it's on there twice.
All right. It conforms to what the code called, the zoning, the code is, and so I think we're all right with it.
Yeah, and it's right in there requested.
Yeah, right.
All right,
Okay.
I'll make a
so
motion. Make a motion that we approve the sign for State Farm sign located at 1065 Ridge Road. The installation of a 23.3 square foot internally illuminated channel letter wall-mounted sign on a 1.83 acre parcel having SBL number 079.16-1-24.21, located in the HC High Intensity Commercial District.
And you're including the monument sign also, correct?
And then, yeah, that does include the monument sign as
So the
well.
two sides, and the address is at 1065, they've got that on there already?
Yep.
Or they're putting it on, that's good. Okay, that's a motion, need a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good. Okay, you're all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on tonight's agenda, the RG&E Station 73 located at 891 Clem Road. Applicant Eric Thorne is requesting preliminary site plan approval and a public hearing in association with the modernization of an existing RG&E electrical substation on a 0.77 acre parcel located in an R2 single-family residential district under sections 269-11 and 350-11 under the Code of the Town of Webster.
Hello.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I'm Mary Stubline from Labella Associates, and we are assisting RG&E with permitting on this project. I have with me here Eric Thorne of RG&E. He's a manager of environmental programs and projects. So we're here tonight in support of Station 73, so it's a modernization project on Clem Road. As you can see from the aerial image there, this is an existing electrical substation consisting of a yard, fence, a transformer, a small switchgear building, driveway, and some grass lawn in a triangular-shaped parcel. We propose to construct the new expanded substation around the existing substation, which must remain operational during construction in order to minimize any service disruptions. So this planned modernization and expansion of the existing substation will support upgrades to transmission and distribution lines in the region, provide backup circuits, which will reduce customer outages, and support the growing electrical demand in the Penfield and Webster areas. The proposed substation will include 2 pre-engineered metal buildings, or metal-sided buildings, which are the gas-insulated switchgear buildings. An additional 3rd building, which is a control building, a transformer with an oil containment foundation that also is surrounded by a firewall on 3 sides, new asphalt access to the substation yard, and then the associated electrical vaults, handholds, duct banks, conduit trenches, the new stone substation yard, security fencing with vehicle gates, and associated lighting that are necessary for substation operation. Lighting will consist of building mounted wall packs along with perimeter security lighting, which is on from dusk till dawn, and then task lighting, which is only used if they need to respond to work in the non-daylight hours. Substations such as this are unmanned, so there's no need for any sanitary service, any water service, or any trash disposal outside of that which is necessary during construction. We know that screening will be an important component of this project. RG&E generally prefers not to have vegetation around substations for safety and security purposes, but based on feedback that was provided when we appeared before this board in October of 2024 for sketch plan, a landscape plan has been provided in response to those comments. Additionally, the fence was swapped out. Initially, we came in with a chain link fence, and the feedback was indicated to provide something maybe more decorative. So that's been swapped out for a high security steel palisade fence, which is shown in the renderings. RG&E also used input from the October and December 2024 sketch plan meetings that we attended to revise the materials used on the facade of the pre-engineered buildings to try to blend in with the residential nature of the area. And again, the renderings reflect the implementation of that input received. The current design, when compared to that 2024 sketch plan, also features a modified basement in the building, which allows the buildings in general to be not as tall as what was presented previously, and still include gabled roofs without increasing the overall building profile. We are requesting variances from the ZBA. We have an application in with them. It is an existing non-conforming lot in terms of minimum lot area. We would also need variances for the front yard setback, the rear yard setback, and some of that is based on the unique shape of the parcel as it's triangular. Also fence height and setback. According to the National Electrical Safety Code, substations should have fences that are at least 7 feet tall, which would exceed most codes, and that's for safety purposes to keep people out and keep people safe. As this site is less than an acre, it's 0.77 acres, it won't trigger the need for coverage under the Speedies construction general permit, though we do recognize that it triggers requirement from the town of Webster, so we provided a erosion and sediment control stormwater pollution prevention plan. We have received comments from Monroe County's review. One of the comments was related to the ag parcel that's at the corner of Whiting Road and Clem Road, because that's within a certain distance of the proposed substation expansion parcel. And we also received their input about considering the relationship with the Hojack Trail. I just wanted to follow up on that comment in particular, that we do not anticipate impacting vegetation along the trail. That existing natural buffer would be maintained to the extent possible of the trees that are already there and the lower vegetation that's already there. We did not receive any specific feedback from the PRC, but we look forward to the comments, which I understand are intended to be speaking to the aesthetics of what was proposed. So that's our summary. We look forward to your feedback.
Did you say that the facility is going to be unmanned?
Correct.
That means that there's going to be no one there in case of vandalism or attempted vandalism or anything like that?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, what was the answer?
Yes, that's correct. It's an unmanned station. I can't speak to the technical aspects of the security, as that's not my forte. But it is an unmanned station. But there is a relative amount of due diligence by RG&E to make sure that impacts to the stations don't occur, and if they do, those can be flagged, through systems that I'm not fully aware of, but it will be an unmanned station. But being that we have the security fence around the station, it's not anticipated that we would be receiving much impact at this time. So.
What concerns me is that, what if a fire breaks out inside the building? Do you have proper?
Buildings do provide fire systems within the buildings themselves, and to my knowledge, this is our standard practice. We do typically provide the local fire departments the ability to understand what those systems are, and I do believe there are call alarms that go to those fire services as well.
Other questions? The buildings, you've done there's been a nice improvement on the project from what you first showed on it. And the buildings, they look kind of boxy. Would it look more residential? It's just a minor change, but.
Sure. So when we met with the board back in October 20 on RG&E standards, the request from the board was to investigate installing a gabled roof onto the buildings. So we did work with our engineer of the pre-manufactured buildings and design it in such a way that we could incorporate the gabled roofs to the possible, without impacting the overall structural integrity of the buildings themselves.
I think the comment was basically make them look residential.
Correct, yes.
And it's so boxy. It looks more residential, because they're quite tall. They're setting up, what are they setting up, about 3 or 4 foot off the ground even, right? The wall around the actual building?
Yes, it's,
Right.
the basement is elevated about 3 feet
3
above,
feet, yeah.
above ground, yes.
Anyway, something I think, if you can consider doing that.
Okay, we can take note of it.
To me, that was the biggest thing. The fence, I think you've done a great job. Landscaping in the front. I think there were some questions. Did you have some, Alex? These are from the people from the Friends of Webster Trails. They had some comments there that they sent me today, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to take the time to read these into record, trying to have them addressed. This is directly from them. The plans do not appear to account for the adjacent Hojack Trail, which is a heavily used trail. The town and Friends of Webster Trail just spent nearly $400,000 improving, to which RG&E actually wrote a letter of recommendation for this grant that we did for it. So we would like the following issues to be addressed by the planning board to avoid significant adverse impacts to the trail. one, encroachment on Hojack Trail during construction and operation. Will construction or operation of the substation require closure of the Hojack Trail, even temporarily? Two, runoff and groundwater issues. The grade will be significantly increased, elevated on the site, and it appears that the water will be able to run south directly into the newly resurfaced trail, which already has drainage issues due to inadequate ditch maintenance over the years. Please ensure adequate stormwater infrastructure is installed sufficient to divert all runoff away from the Hojack Trail. A flooding trail would be a bad outcome. Visual screening, the site plans show visual screening from the road, but not from the adjacent trail. Please add a robust visual screening to shield the substation from the trail. And parking, to mitigate the adverse impacts caused by proximity of an industrial facility next to the trail. As a condition to the permit, RG&E should be required to expand the proposed asphalt driveway apron to create a public parking area and trailhead for the Hojack Trail. This is individual from the Friends Webster Trail requests the matter be tabled and record remain open for additional written submissions for consideration at the next planning board meeting. But that
If
is,
you'd like to, I'll give you this, you can, if you want to address them, there's just like
I'm
five-
sure they would be happy to sit
five
down with you
comments.
guys
You can take
as
this
well
and-
to discuss these.
Sure. As far as the last comment, tabling it, to address those, I think they can be addressed and put in for final approval or something. I wouldn't want to table this for something like that.
I would agree. I was just reading directly
Yeah,
what was
no, I
said to
know.
me.
I think one of the things to also note that, that portion of Hojack Trail, based on the boundary survey, it's Rochester Gas and Electric's property there. So I think a more defined drainage ditch between the substation and the trail to mitigate any impact to the drainage of the trail, would be helpful too.
On the
Yes.
drawing though, it's drainage plan, sheet 5 of the 8. On that corner that does get wet, because I drove by the property today, that's the lower part of the property. It does look like you have a reinforced concrete pipe there that would help to increase the flow over to a DI. As Keith raised earlier with another project, I think you need a maintenance plan to assure that that's inspected on a regular basis to prevent the Hojack line from flooding. That way you ensure that you have a conduit to remove that water.
Yeah, just to speak to the drainage, thanks for pointing that out. We have considered the drainage in the overall design of the project. We are including a drainage culvert that goes underneath the proposed driveway, pitched towards Clem Road, and an intent to, with approval from the ownership of the existing 8-inch culvert that's there on the property, upgrade that inlet, storm inlet, to receive the surface drainage as it comes off of the proposed development of the property.
But I think the maintenance plan is important. It's
Okay.
forgotten how to sprinkle around here. So it rains really hard, culverts are gonna back up and get plugged, and I think you need to inspect that on some regular basis. If I might, I'll just add one more thing from a stormwater perspective. While you have a stormwater and a dewatering plan, it's unclear as to where, when you dewater, where that water goes. So during your construction phase, how are you gonna manage water if it builds up in your excavations or in anything else where you're currently constructing? And just one additional item along that same track. It's a small plot of land. You have a relatively large construction on that site, and you're entering right onto Clem Road. So to avoid having mud and other debris build up on the road, it would be nice to have some type of plan to assure that the trucks entering and leaving the site go onto a dry pad so they're not getting into those areas of excavation.
Sure. Regarding that last item, the proposed driveway would also be utilized as a construction entrance during the construction of the project. And it is our intent that all of the construction traffic would be maintained within the RG&E parcel, on that construction entrance and, onto the site development as the projects move forward. So I don't believe that there's an intent to utilize the existing roadway for, construction, parking, and traffic.
Thank you.
So, one of the questions I had was, I understand you're trying to keep maintenance down. Does the yard really have to go right up to the property lines? Especially, the neighbors to the east. The yard is literally going right up to the property line. And the existing drainage pattern, again, goes west. Your proposed drainage pattern is pushing some of the yard east. And I'm concerned, similar to what Swem mentioned, just like your drainage that's coming off of your yard into the neighbor's property now to the east, how are you addressing that? Since you're putting the yard right up to the property line.
I guess two things. The proposed upgrades to the station are intended to be constructed while the existing substation is energized. The existing substation, understanding that the existing fence is right on the property line or near to the property line on the east. In order to maintain the necessary clearances that we would need for the electrical equipment, it was oriented in such a way to, and also due to the unique lot being a triangular lot, it was proposed in such a way to maximize the space while allowing for the clearances to be met for the infrastructure. If it was tight or compact, it wouldn't facilitate the expansion while the existing substation is energized, and we would have to look at taking out that existing substation, which could have an impact on the services that are fed by that station. So it was maximized in such a way to facilitate the upgrades, but not impact the service that's fed from the station.
Yeah, based on the aerial, you can see that you have roughly 20 or so feet between the property line and that existing fence of the substation, that's grass.
Mhm.
Is there a reason that can't retain or stay grass? And then you put in a diversion swale for your yard to make sure that your proposed yard, which is currently sheeting to the east, is not impacting that neighbor?
So we can certainly look at the drainage, towards the east, to make sure that our swales intended to capture, that runoff as well. Understanding, we certainly don't want to flood out an adjacent neighbor. We also are utilizing the space to the east of the buildings as a turnaround area. We originally had proposed with the substation having two driveways, utilizing the existing driveway and the newly proposed driveway. In reaching out to Monroe County DOT, they advised that we only utilize one driveway for the parcel, and to facilitate the infrastructure necessary to complete the substation. We're proposing that driveway on the west side of the parcel, put in equipment around. Also, if they're on the off chance that there is have the room to, it comes on essentially on you know, a large trailer. We need to be able to have the room to get that infrastructure in to bring the customer's portion of the yard is designed for, to allow that turnaround area.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's a very tight fit, like you said. I don't think you're turning around a mobile substation within this yard. I think you're backing that in. So if you wouldn't mind just looking at, my concern is really to the neighbor to the east onto their property. So if we could evaluate that.
Yep.
What is the base material in there? Is that gravel?
What's that?
It's 18
The
inches
base-
of gravel.
Gravel?
Yes.
Gravel? Okay.
If you could include signage onto your gates for contact information in
That
case
is
of an
standard,
emergency.
that's standard practice.
Okay, I didn't see it on the detail, but you could have that on the
Yep.
details as well. I would love to see some screening on the east side, I'll be honest with you, to that neighbor, but I know you did a great job with the frontage, but again, you're just becoming basically a lot, impervious lot, and if you can do anything for that neighbor to the east,
Sure.
I think you'll be appreciated.
We can look into that.
That's all I had.
That's it? Okay. All right, were there, Keith or Josh, were you okay with things on there? You concerned?
So, my only comment regarding drainage
Uh-huh.
is, you know, essentially, it's a table, if you will, right? So, right now, there is a grade to the property, I kind of forget in which direction, but now it's kind of tabled off. So, and then that table is made up of 18 inches of gravel
Mhm.
and another 6 inches of a fill gravel soil mix. So infiltration is gonna probably improve with that kind of a situation over draining to the adjacent neighbors. So that's why we.
But they're lifting it. It's
They're-
not as in it's being lowered into the ground. This is being built
No,
up. So
correct,
you're still
but
gonna
it
be
doesn't-
seeping out into the neighbor.
I believe it'll be more of an infiltration through and not necessarily across to the neighbors, in my professional opinion. The only question I did have is, there's a couple locations where you have splash blocks. So how is the water, like how much water are we talking about at those splash block locations? And is it constant? What is you don't have to answer it here, but we will want some better understanding of what's occurring there. The other thing I'll mention about this property, if I was looking at the contours appropriately, this whole property sits about a foot below and maybe 2 feet below the Hojack Trail itself. So, again, it's lower than the trail itself as well. And I think with the features that they're showing here on their plan, I think there is gonna be some help migrating water to the catch basins and things where it needs to go to help dry that out potentially.
Okay. Anybody? That's it? That's it?
When you went through the letter, I think there was a comment in there about trying to provide public parking on here for the trailer. You could comment about that. Personally, I would say no.
I don't think it's
'Cause
something that we
you don't
want
want to make
on
this thing
private
into an
property.
attractive nuisance.
Correct.
You don't want people to start poking around inside the station.
That is correct, yes.
Actually, it functions the way it is right now. I think they've got a few parking spaces along the road. Periodically, you see a few cars parked along there. I think that's adequate, isn't it?
There may be some cars parking up there, but I wouldn't designate any public parking on this spot.
No, I agree. No, I
Just
agree.
as
No,
private
I'm s-
property that has a high voltage
There's,
electrical
yeah,
station.
no question.
so.
No, what I'm referring to is along the shoulder of the road, they have a few spots for parking.
It's on the north side,
Yeah.
across from this.
Yeah,
The liability alone would be
yeah,
bad
Yeah.
news.
All right, you know what, let me do this. Again, this is a public hearing, so if there's any neighbors or anyone here wishing to speak, either for or against this project, I invite you to go ahead up and comment. Nobody?
If there's no one, if there's no one here, we did receive a comment from the adjacent neighbor to the east. If
Oh,
you'd like
okay.
me to read
Haven't
that
got it, haven't
into
got it.
the
Yeah, go
record. This is from John Salzgiver at 897 Clem Road. He states, "The design looks much better than the last renderings that were shown. We still have concerns about the amount of light that the installation will emit into our neighborhood. Second, we consider the following things to also be positive as compared to the existing site. One, the access drive will be much further from our house. Two, the transformer will be mostly hidden from view and also further from our house, lowering the electric field strength and probably reducing the audible hum that exists now. In general, it will look slightly less industrial than what's there today. We notice that there will be plantings all along Clem Road, but nothing along our shared property line. We would certainly appreciate it if we could have the same sort of plantings along the east perimeter. Anything that could possibly be done to reduce light pollution here would be appreciated."
Okay. Now, that fence along that east line, is that on the line, the fence, or are you in like a few feet or what?
I believe, it's set back, was it 5 feet from the property? Yes, 5.8 feet. from the
So
property.
it is?
It's not
Okay.
directly on the property line itself, so
Okay,
there
so then you
is,
do have an area, so that would be appreciated, I'm sure, by the neighbor with some landscaping in there, so include some of that maybe?
And then to reiterate earlier, you had said that the only time lighting is on at the station was if somebody was there doing work. It's not a continuous. The
So
wall
there
fence.
is the perimeter lighting, I guess it's security lighting, I guess I wouldn't call it perimeter lighting, and that would be at that end of the project, located on the transformer wall, on the outside of the transformer wall, but according to the photometric that we provided, we're at nearly zero at the east property line.
and I will elaborate on the lighting. It does have an automatic dusk to dawn function, but there's also a manual function as well. And it's our current intent to set it as the manual function. So at this point in time, it's not intended that the lighting would be on through the dusk to dawn duration.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns?
That's definitely an improvement from
Oh, yeah.
from the initials showing.
All right, then we close the public hearing, so we'll move on with it. And what are we gonna do, folks?
I'm good with it.
I kind of agree with Keith, with 15 inches of gravel, that's almost like a leach bed there.
Big one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's adequate for taking care of the water in that area, that, you know, for drainage. As far as that letter that came, I gave it to you there, you want to just go, have you read it?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at it?
Yep.
Any comments on it?
I think, nothing that we haven't, covered already.
Okay.
In terms of the screening, just want to reiterate, we definitely understand, the, concerns about the public usage, of the Hojack Trail. We've designed it in such a way that the fence actually follows the existing tree line, inside of the tree line. So as it's intended right now, we're not anticipating needing to remove any of the existing vegetation We certainly, would keep all the low-growing vegetation, upon, any such approval of the orientation. We can certainly look to stake out some of the critical infrastructure and just do an assessment of some of the, the tallest, maybe mature trees to make sure that there's not a hazard that we would, have to do some sort of tree trimming to or something like that. But it's not our intention to remove the woody vegetation through there. We'd like to keep it to a minimum, as much as possible. So
And I think the big
think I haven't actually walked the trail myself, so I don't know really what you can see.
Yeah, one of the
through there,
concerns
but-
they had was disruption of the trail
Sure.
during the construction. I'm sure you're
Yep,
aware
the
of
trail
that.
will, as best of my knowledge right now, from a construction standpoint, we would not be impacting the trail
Alright.
during construction, so it can remain open, because all of our work is going to be confined to that triangular parcel.
Okay. All right, there were a few things that were brought up that if we do move forward for a resolution, recall what you had. Everybody had some good points they brought up. I didn't get a chance to write them all down, so we just remember them. So with that, if you want to move forward, do you want to do a seeker on it, Derek?
Yeah, we're ready. So the Town of Webster Planning Board considered a request by applicant Eric Thorne to modernize an existing RG&E electrical substation located at 8-91 Clem Road on a 0.77 acre parcel having SBL number 064.14-2-17, located in an R2 single-family residential district. The planning board determines that the proposed action is an unlisted action. The planning board determined that the action is subject to single agency review pursuant to Part 617, 6B4 of seeker, and that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance. The planning board therefore designates itself lead agency for the proposed action. The planning board has considered the criteria for determining significance as set forth in section 617.7C1 of seeker, and has, 1, considered the information contained in the short environmental assessment form, Part 1, dated March 16th, 2026. 2, considered public comments directed to the planning board during the public hearing on April 7th, 2026. And 3, completed Parts 2 and 3 of the environmental assessment form. Now therefore be resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board hereby determines that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment for the reasons set forth in the attached notice of determination of non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board is authorized to take all actions reasonable and necessary to file a negative declaration and discharge the Town of Webster Planning Board's responsibility as lead agency for this action. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the information and analysis above, the reference supporting documentation, and discussions of the action by the Town of Webster Planning Board, as documented by the minutes for this meeting, that the proposed action will not result in any significant environmental impacts. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board therefore makes a determination of non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the above reasons, issues a negative declaration as evidence of this determination. And that's the resolution.
Okay, have a motion, and I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor for seeker?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good with that. Now, a motion for, this is only in for preliminary approval. Engineering, everybody's okay with moving? All right, we're good? All right. Mark, want to make a motion for it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for preliminary approval, site plan approval for RG&E Station 73, located at 891 Clem Road, in association with the modernization of an existing RG&E electrical substation on a .77 acre parcel having SBL number 064.14-2-17, located in the R2 single-family residential district in the Town of Webster. I'll make the regular approval comments, and then we can add on to whatever we talked about.
Oh, will that, get your main ones in?
Yeah, okay, let's do the main ones, and then we'll.
Yeah, do that, and then we'll just,
Right,
I
add
know
on.
Sven had some, Derek did.
Right. So subject to PRC comments, subject to letter of credit posted with the town of Webster if applicable, subject to Monroe County Water Authority comments if applicable.
Yeah.
I don't know, there were no variances
Yeah.
required for this, or were there?
They're scheduled to appear before the ZBA next.
Okay, subject to determination
Yeah.
of the ZBA for requested variances. All improvements shall be constructed according to the specification of the town of Webster. All site work is to be in compliance with the standards of the town of Webster. Preserve all mature trees on the site where possible. Comply with all requirements of any state, county, or town agency. Address drainage, lighting, signage, landscaping, buffering, berming, and snow storage. Landscape, hardscape, site accessories, associated finished grading design for the development must be prepared by New York State licensed landscape architect. Final landscape plan shall bear the seal and signature of the landscape architect. And the approvals will be subject to, we got a bunch of drawings here, so do we have just a project number? Is there different numbers in every?
What's your project number? Labella's project number?
Is that the 73-003-08? No, we wouldn't want to do that. It's all different.
10865.
210865? We'll use that one, okay. Okay, so now add on what we already discussed.
You got that right. Well, one of the things I mentioned earlier and put into the motion is consider the hip roof versus the gable ends. And your roof, from the looks of the roof, the way it's designed, you have gutters on there, they look like they're almost flush with the outside of the building, the end of the roof.
Right now, the design,
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. Right now, I don't think, gutters are shown in a detail on there, but we can bring that back to our engineer. and
All right, they
make
may
sure
not
that-
need them, I don't know, maybe they're just proposing to let them sheet down or what, that could be. But anyways, the biggest thing is I'm suggesting is the hip roofs on there. Mentioned about landscaping to the adjoining neighbor to the east. Somebody brought that, and anybody has anything that you did bring up, bring it up. We didn't write any of it down or anything, and it's on recorded, but we don't have the recording right now. Derek, you had a couple comments?
Mine was really just about making sure that it's not public parking.
Yeah, okay.
I agree.
All right. Sven, were you good with
So
it?
the maintenance plan for stormwater?
Yes, I
Ensure
have
that culvert doesn't get blocked up and water does flow properly. And then some type of plan for how you manage the construction vehicles so Fun Road doesn't get filled with water in the event that you're working in there and vehicles need to leave. And then how's the dewatered?
Wait a minute,
water
we want
that
to put this into a motion, so this is not a question time.
Oh,
What do you
okay.
want to put into it?
So those are the things I want to put into it.
You want, just give me
They have
the
this stormwater maintenance
short version of, so she can get it, you know?
Okay.
Stormwater culvert.
So a maintenance plan for stormwater,
Okay,
a management plan during construction to assure the construction vehicles don't drag a lot of mud and debris out into the road. And then a plan for managing water that's dewatered out of the excavations or other areas of construction.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
Mark, did you have anything on that?
Just what I mentioned earlier. about the
That's
building.
it? Any other comments?
Excuse me.
We're good?
I think that's it. Any comment? You're good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
And
Sorry.
that's a motion.
Okay, I guess that's it. So that would be the motion. We need a second.
Second.
All right, we have a second. No comment.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Vetter?
Aye.
Mr. Gassick?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye. All right, we're good for preliminary approval. We've got some information to deal with there, and hopefully come back for final, and we're all set.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, have a good night.
Okay, the last item on the agenda tonight, Webster Solar Farm, located at 139 Caracas Drive. The applicant, Katie Socia, is requesting,
What happened to Seven Blues?
7 Blue's been tabled to the May 5th
Table?
meeting.
Okay.
All right, where was I? I'll read it again. Webster Solar Farm located at 139 Caracas Drive. The applicant, Katie Socia, is requesting site plan amendments in the association with a revised 5.2 MW solar generation facility, including approximately 8,800 solar panels and 16 inverts on a 19-acre portion of a 120-acre lot owned by Xerox Corporation, located in an industrial district under sections 155 5D 4, 269-10, and 350-22 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Hi, thank you guys for having me here tonight. I'm here seeking a site plan amendment for the solar farm that's proposed on the Xerox campus. The only site plan amendment that we are changing or that we are requesting to be approved is that we are removing the solar panels off of the asphalt cap. That is a deduction of about a little over 2,000 panels and a loss of about 1.4 megawatts to the project. Means and methods are staying the same. Construction-wise, landscaping plan is not changing. That is really the only change. There's also going to be a deduction of the number of inverters. Originally, there were 18, now there are 16 proposed. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, anybody any questions? I know this was at the town board the other night. It received a approval. We had sent them the information, they approved it. It's back here with a modification to what was originally approved by this board. So if there's any comments on it?
So the modification is just a reduction off of the cap?
Correct, yes, and the number of inverters.
Anybody?
Nope.
Then I'm gonna take it we're all okay with it.
Yep.
I do have one question. One of the requirements that the planning board had issued as part of the project approval was a 1.5 inches of asphalt on top of the cap. Since the project is removing it off of the cap, we were wondering if that requirement could be removed as well.
Good question. If there's nothing going on it, that was, the reason the asphalt was put on there was to accommodate the additional work that was gonna be done on there.
Well, that
If
wasn't
that
there.
work isn't going to be done, what's the sense in capping it?
Well, I think more importantly is the condition of the existing cap. I mean, the cap is intended to keep moisture out from the landfill below, so that if it's necessary to repave it to maintain the seal on it, then, you know, that requirement would still need to be there.
Yeah, so I'm Wendy Latko from Environment, Health and Safety at Xerox. So that entire site is under a Part 373 permit by the DEC, and maintenance of that cap is part of that permit. So, you know, in the absence of the solar project impacting it, all, you know, jurisdiction over that will revert to the DEC, and we, of course, will continue to follow their requirements for maintenance of the cap.
So just making sure no construction activity will utilize the cap?
No construction activity, no staging, nothing being set on top of the cap. We're actually going to let the fence remain in place there as well, because there's no sense in taking it down.
Okay. All right. Anyone, I'll make a motion to grant the,
I'm sorry,
modification?
Chairman,
Oh, I'm
one more
sorry.
thing. The other request that I was going to make is if we could update the one-year approval from the final site plan to today, to the site plan amendment date for,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
thank you.
That makes sense, okay. All right, I make a motion that we grant the approval to the Webster Solar Garden based on the revisions presented to the town board. And I would say eliminating the asphalt cap on there, and that's to be named, that is under the jurisdiction of DEC approval through Xerox. All right, what else? I think
We're not
that's all
gonna,
we-
you gotta clarify that. We're not gonna eliminate the cap.
No,
We're gonna eliminate
a new one,
recapping it,
yeah.
yeah.
Eliminate the inch and a half
Right.
topping that was proposed, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, that would be a motion, I guess.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Rashani.
Aye.
Mr. Malta.
Aye.
Mr. Anderson.
Well, I was not here in January, I was out of country at that point. And as an overall project, I would say no.
Yeah, that's right, you were gone at the time.
Okay. Mr. Vetter.
Aye.
Mr. Gassick.
Aye.
And Mr. Giardina.
He's probably abstaining just because he had to excuse
Okay.
himself.
And I'll also make a motion that we extend the significant construction to commence within 1 year from this date, which would be April 7th, 2027. Okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
Okay.
time tonight.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, that's it. What was the last one on you?
That was the last one.
It's under administrative meetings, administrative matters.
Verizon Wireless Communication
We covered them all.
We have one more, update from the Verizon
Verizon
Communication
update
Tower.
on the
Yeah.
minutes. There's nothing to read, it's just Verizon Wireless Communication Tower update.
All right. All right, we have just one item more, that's the update for the communication tower.
Verizon Wireless.
Excellent, thank you. My name is Laura Smith. I'm with Nixon Peabody. I'm joined by Jeff Skolnick of NBNC, Tim Zarnecki of Verizon, and Kathy Pomponio of Verizon, and together we're representing this application. As noted, we were before this planning board on March 3rd at your previous March meeting, where we discussed the proposal for a 125 monopole tower to be constructed at the corner, essentially, of Lake Ave and County Line Road. The site is located in the town's large lot, single-family residential zoning district, and is permitted by a special permit and site plan approval from this planning board. At the March 3rd meeting, my colleague Bob Bergdorf, he noted that Verizon is able to be located anywhere within the search ring that was presented to the planning board in Exhibit G of our original application. Upon the planning board's request, however, we did look into 2 additional locations. One is a location H that was shown on a map that was submitted on March 31st submission to the planning board. That's location H was in the southwest corner of the map. It is butting up against that forest area on the border of the agricultural use, as well as Exhibit I, which is essentially mirroring that location on the other side of County Line Road. With the planning board's request to look into it, we did in fact reach back out to the landlord. The landlord declined allowing us to move the leased premises. I'll note, as a baseline, we can't force a landlord to lease to us, so a sheer declining to lease to us is sufficient to rule that out as a possible alternative site. However, I will note that the landlord provided a letter to the planning board explaining his reasoning, which we very much appreciate. Usually we just get no, so it's nice to get the reasoning from the landlord. And as noted in that reasoning from the landlord, the area that is actively farmed agricultural are under private and public conservation restrictions, as well as the realities of a working farm don't make it hospitable to having a cell phone tower back in the trees. So after going again back to the landlord to ask if we could move the sites to the 2 sites identified by the planning board, we also pushed our RF consultant, who's here, Tim Zarnacki, to confirm that there are no sites located outside the search ring that would work from an RF perspective. He again scrubbed the site from an RF perspective and confirmed that the search area that was presented to the planning board and presented as part of this application is the tightest search area that would meet his RF needs. With that, we presented that information in the March 31st supplement that was provided to the planning board. In the interim between that supplement and tonight's meeting, we asked NBNC to do another scrub of neighboring properties to confirm, although RF said we cannot be one property out of the search ring, or I'm sorry, the search area, to confirm were there other viable sites from a site acquisition perspective. With that, it was noted that the majority of the properties along Lake Road, along Lake Road are smaller residential properties or residential properties and are not available for a cell phone tower lease. And then also noted on the map that was presented, I think quite clearly in the March 31st presentation, there's quite a bit of wetlands and creek area around that area. So it's really impeding where a cell phone tower can go within that search area. And then poor Tim, as he'll present, we asked him to check again. And with that, he was able to present a visual presentation that once I turn it over to Tim, he'll walk you through the visual presentation to help really set the tone or set the scene that we really cannot be outside of that search area. The reason why the search area is so important and why Tim is going to walk you through this presentation is because Verizon is considered a public utility for zoning purposes in New York State. So in order to demonstrate that we meet the public necessity standard, we have to demonstrate that there is a significant gap in coverage, that this proposal remedies that gap in coverage, and that it's the most feasible solution to remedy the gap in coverage. I'll note for the first 2 items, that there are gaps in service. That information is provided to you in Exhibit F. That is the RF analysis that was first proposed or first presented by Bob. If you have the application in front of you, I'll note, page 18 and page 19 really tell a compelling story to show the existing mid-band network within the search area and the surrounding areas that we are attempting to serve. And then the next page, page 19, that then demonstrates that this remedy, this tower, is the remedy that will serve that coverage gap. To demonstrate the facility is the most feasible, we are always happy to look at alternative sites. That is the process that we did going back to the landlord, this process that we did scrubbing the site. We really pushed everyone quite hard to see, are there any alternative sites that Verizon may locate this tower? And the answer that has been coming back is no. I'll also note, when looking at this specific site, while we're very mindful and cognizant of the public input that we heard on March 3rd and the public input that we anticipate hearing at the May meeting, this site is a good location to locate the cell tower within the search area. There's no residential houses on it. It's a clean space that is already has significant amounts of utility wires and utility poles. It is visually cluttered currently. It's not an open field or an open vista. As noted in the visual environmental assessment addendum that is provided in the packet, there are no significant natural resources in the surrounding area. And the top of the tower will be visible from other locations in the search area. So the concept of being able to move the tower to avoid the aesthetic impacts of having a tall tower, cannot be remedied. So we ask the board to consider those, and then I'm going to invite Tim up to give a presentation regarding thank you. And we'll be providing this in a letter to supplement the record.
Good evening, my name is Tim Zarnicki. I'm an RF engineer with Verizon Wireless. Just here to explain kind of how a search area works and how we come about them. What happens is we have either propagation studies that we run that show coverage holes, or we have traffic problems that arise where sites are getting overloaded with traffic. They can no longer withstand, the amount of people getting on them. So then we're asked, hey, you need a site, what can you do for us? We take that existing propagations, and we'll get into that, I guess, but we'll take the existing propagations and find an area, where can we go? We'll look at AMSLs, sea levels, we'll look at kind of hills, mountains, whatever's in the area. Where do we need to find and target the area where we're going to get the best coverage to either offload or add service? We'll do that by our propagation studies. We have a tool that we use called ATOL that we dig through. We run these propagation studies, find where we need to go, find out what heights we can do, because AMSL will matter. If we have a 50-foot AMSL for 100-foot, that can make a difference in how far we need to go up on our tower. We'll take that and we'll go into the design of that site, and once we create an area where we know we can go based on those, we'll hand it off to our site acquisition company, say this is a search area. This is where the general area we need to go in based on AMSL and a 125-foot tower. At that point, they go, they scrub the ring, they come back to us with property owners that are interested, not interested, where we can go, and we'll take that, and then now we'll design the site. We'll design the site, say, if we get the 50-foot AMSL, we know we need 75 or 100-foot or 125-foot tower to meet those AMSL plus center lines. Going through those, sorry, let me get organized here with this thought. So we developed the search ring, we had the areas. We don't look at wetlands, we don't look at a lot of stuff. We just look at, I need a site in this area. So unfortunately, Site Act gets caught up with finding the feasible landscapes that we can go into. And when we look through these, we make our design, we try and fit them into our network system and make that work. So in this area, as you can see here, we ended up on the far west side of our search area. We're basing the search area on the coverage of our existing site to the west, which is 4 Mile Creek, and then to the east we have Guinea. If you look at the search area in this, and I think this is up here before here, if you look at our search area, we're basically right in the middle of those two sites. We're focusing on the middle of these two sites. We're trying to find that area, weakest coverage, and where we're getting some traffic. The weak area actually causes a heavier burden on the sites. When it's weaker, you have to work harder. Your phone has to work harder, the site has to work harder to work with each other. So we're looking to fill those holes right in the middle, and you can see we're pretty much in the center of that area. We did look at the extra sites. We had, landlords said no to a couple of them, so we looked at them, but they were rejected or declined at that point anyways. I know we looked at another one that was just to the northeast, northeast of our area. Looking at that, we came across and found that it's just not far enough east. It's encroaching on the coverage of our 4 Mile Creek Road. We're not getting what we need out of it. We'll be back for another tower if we go to that northeast site, or northwest site. So, you know, we're always looking to stay in the center of where we're covering and going after those areas. I guess we can kind of go into some of the supplemental. If you look at page 4, it kind of shows, this is our propagation study of the 2 sites, Gannett and 4 Mile Creek. You can see there's our search area basically centrally located between those 2 sites. We're on the west side of it, so we, you know, definitely went as far west about as we can really go in those. We're open, obviously, for areas we can find, but that's what, we had a landlord, that's where we worked, and that's what we got. If you go to page 5, or, 5's not in here, page 6 and page 7, this is kind of a unique view of kind of how we look at these things sometimes as well. You can see on page 6, that's coverage from 4 Mile Creek extending across the area. And you can see if we went to the northeast, we'd be really encroaching on that coverage. We wouldn't be getting central area and taking care of both the sites that we need, that we're trying to offload / add coverage onto. And then if you look at page 7, it's the opposite, that's Gannett. You can see that Gannett is kind of barely reaching to the search area, which again, this is why we made the search area where it is. We're trying to find that center point of the 2 sites and equally offload the 2 sites. I think that's all I've got for now. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I spoke with Mr. Bergdorf the other day.
Yes.
Quite a lengthy conversation I had with him. I suggested maybe his firm or you folks, whoever, could possibly contact the association that Mr. Cohen is involved with, because he's not talking in his letter. Apparently he gets grants, or there's soil bank or whatever, he puts the money, you know, he's getting money for the property by not allowing building and so on and so forth. Whatever the program is, I don't know and I don't care. However, my guess is if somebody contacted this outfit, this firm, or this organization, I think Cornell Cooperative is part of it also, but whatever, contacting them and trying to make an arrangement to say, look, we're not gonna put a building, we're not putting a barn, we're not putting anything on this property. It's a simple cell tower going back there. And my suggestion at that meeting, the last meeting, was to put it not into the woods, but by the woods, as close as possible to it. Get it back where that roadway that the owner of the property has his driveway comes right off of County Line Road. Goes right back to that area. Now, I understand you're saying, well, it might be a little bit too far and it doesn't receive. And I'm looking at, if you put a straight line from where 4 Mile Creek is to Gannett, it's almost a straight line with it. There's no jog. I think what happened here, I think they picked a spot and said, look, we got that corner, drew the circle and said, this is where it fits. That's my opinion. I mean, I think this, I am not happy with it going there. I don't think anyone is. And I still think somebody needs to investigate a better location for that cell tower. My opinion.
I'll give a quick comment, and appreciated the conversation with Bob. We did go back to the landlord. We asked if he would be open to have that discussion with the agencies with whom he's contracted. He has declined. I'll note, I don't know the type of agreement, nor have I reviewed the agreement, but I am familiar with conservation easements and similar language, and they are meant to be prohibitive of development. So candidly, again, I don't have experience with the particular contract or program that he's under, but it is not surprising to me that a conservation easement or similar type of contractual conservation obligations and protocol would prohibit the type of development that we're seeking here.
Well, I don't have a solution for it then. And I'll tell you right now, it comes in, I'm not gonna vote in favor of it. And I know what the situation is. The government says we can do it, one way or the other. Then you're gonna have to meet, in my regard, you'd have to take that route. It's up to the board though. Because I will definitely not support it going on a corner like that. I've been here from the first cell tower that came into Webster years ago. And we have been able to manipulate, maneuver, and change locations of them, get them somewhere where they're least conspicuous or concealed to protect everybody in the neighborhood. And this couldn't get any worse, my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, according to the code, you know, we can impose some reasonable restrictions relative to where you're putting this property, but you seem to be limiting us just to where you've already put it. So I don't know if you could talk to the owner, but giving us one particular area rather than giving us an area that is, you know, the least adverse to the visual effect of, so I believe probably some of the people that are here on the lake, and, you know, it kind of limits what potentially this board would be willing to do. I mean, the code allows us to at least, we're not saying we can't have the project, but at least have us have options. And it doesn't appear there are any other options than putting it where you put it on your plan. And I don't think that
That's the issue.
necessarily positive for the project, but potentially.
In Mr. Cohen's letter, just right here, finally, the location of the tower on active farm property will create operational inefficiencies. A commercial apple farm is a very busy place to work and live. People, equipment, and harvested produce all need to be able to move. What the hell is a cell tower gonna infringe on that? Can you tell me?
I can't, and I.
This frustrates me.
No, and I hear you, but I think, you know, candidly, from us as a tenant's perspective, we can only go where the landlord allows us to go. If we were allowed to pick where we were going to go, you know, I'm not sure where in this circle would be the most ideal, but, you know, certainly we are receptive to the board's responses. We want to be in a location that works well for the town and works well for Verizon's RF needs. We share your frustration that this is the only location that is available within our search area that will remedy the coverage gap. If there was another alternative site, we would welcome it. Again, as Bob pointed out in the prior meeting, we don't care where we are within the search ring. We just need to be within the search ring in a location that works. We can get our height. There's no unreasonable delay and no unreasonable cost. We want to be in the search ring.
And the other thing, when I spoke with him, I mentioned, you know, by putting it back into that area where I was referring to, he said it might be too far away, but would work. I said, I don't know that much about the towers, but maybe you have to get an extra 5 or 10 foot. Because if it's back there, I don't think anybody's gonna know 5 or 10 foot higher on a tower. So, and I'm seeing this as the owner of the property. I mean, he'll get the revenue from it, but not willing to cooperate with it. And I have an issue with it. It's a busy road, it's one of the most, it is probably one of the most attractive routes through Monroe County, along Lake Road. And to see that cell tower there, I'm opposed to it, bottom line. I think they said, the farmer said, well, you know, I'll give you that spot there, and they drew the circle there. End of story, I'm done.
Okay, and I don't mean to be contrary or to push back, but, you know, as Tim described, it's almost a blind choosing of where the search area will be, and it's based solely on the RF coverage. If I may ask to pull up that supplemental material. I think 2 pages above, I find very digestible as a non-engineer. You know, that's the search area that Verizon is trying to solve. You see the 4 Mile Creek coverage to the west, you see the Gannett coverage to the east. That area in the middle is where the coverage gap is. It is not based on what the parcels look like, and in fact, it is not until after Tim and his team identify where the coverage gap is that the site selection analyst goes out and even asks people. So, you know, I will push back on the concept that we had this site and found a problem to solve. Instead, the process is we locate this or identify the gap in coverage, we identify the appropriate remedy to remedy that gap in coverage, and then we scrub the site to look for potential landlords that would host us in that area. Here, that is the only landlord that was willing to enter into a lease with us. That is the only location the landlord was willing to lease to us on his property. You know, I appreciate the concerns or pushbacks or what the landlord should or should not be considering, but you know, candidly, it's his property. He can decide where we're going to go, and you know, to the extent of he's limited us to A. He's provided actually very good reasons to limit us to A when candidly no reasons are needed. You know, we share your frustration that we can't be somewhere else in the site, but there are no alternative sites that are within the search area that will remedy the coverage gap.
So I just had some couple quick questions. I agree with Tony and Tony's frustration on, it seems like we're almost boxed in right now. And I'm just proposing some out of the box thinking. You can let me know if that's something that we cannot do. So it seems like the limitation is really the search ring, and there's parameters that go into defining the search ring. One of the things that Tony mentioned was, what if we were to consider a tower? Does the search ring now widen, potentially giving you more opportunity to locate different, is that something you could look into if we were to increase it by another 10 feet or what, to give you the flexibility to maybe consider other parcels and modify the search ring?
Well, we designed the size of the tower based on the existing coverage around. So you've got the, you know, Gannett and 4 Mile Creek, so we've designed something that kind of fits in there. We keep going taller, what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna cause interference to those sites now. Taller you get, farther the site propagates, gets in stronger, and then we're gonna just cause interference. We're gonna have to do a lot of strange things to optimize the system that may or may not work right.
Okay. The other thing, you know, in your initial application, you had identified candidate E, last name Roberts, candidate C, last name Smith, which are in Wayne County, as no interest. Personally, I'm just curious, is that no interest based on a lease dollar amount that you were offering? If you were to increase it, there would be interest potentially. You know, I'm just curious if it is something that is negotiable with the landowner. And then, you know, again, out of the box thinking, with the Johnsons, with their concerns there, do they have relationship with the Smith family or the Roberts family there? Because those both are wooded lots, unoccupied, that maybe they could build that rapport, relationship for them to reconsider relocating the project onto those properties, because again, they're more in wooded areas away from their land too, because there's a concern that it's currently right in front of their house. So.
That's site acquisition stuff.
Yep, I'm just throwing it out there as out of the box thinking, because.
Anybody else, any questions, or what do you fellas think?
So my name's Jeff Skolnick. I'm with Network Building Consulting. We're the real estate consulting. As these guys said, I mean, we don't start our work on the ground until they define an area that we need to be in. We looked at those candidates. There's a lot of ways to talk with a landowner and try to get them on board. None of that, I mean, some people just don't want a cell tower on their property. We can have a lot of conversations with them. We can have a lot of conversations with you, but some people just don't want it. We engage, we discuss, we go back and forth, we answer questions with these landowners, and at the end of the day, they just aren't interested. That's pretty much all we can do.
Just suppose the distance between 4 Mile Creek in Elton, Ontario, and suppose you have two smaller towers on other properties. In other words, instead of putting a 125-foot or 30-foot tower, you put 2 100-foot towers, 90-foot, whatever, I don't know, someplace in between to stretch the signal. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just,
Out of the box
I'm
thinking.
looking for a
It's out of the
solution.
box thinking, so.
What's that?
It's out of the box thinking.
yeah, that's what
So,
I'm trying to do here.
It wouldn't be 2 towers.
What's that?
It wouldn't be 2 towers. By the way this gap is drawn in here, it would be probably 4 to provide that same coverage.
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to speak for Tim from an RF perspective, but correctly noted, right, where we're looking at these towers, it is solving a problem between 2 towers. So to expand that area or move a tower closer to the towers that we're trying to solve the coverage gap from would bring interference with the neighboring towers. I'll also note, while we do appreciate alternative sites or alternative locations, we are limited to finding solutions without unreasonable costs and unreasonable delay. So to the extent of building 2 towers to solve a solution that, from a technological point of view, having 1 tower in the middle is ideal, we would have to consider that from a cost perspective.
I can understand that, but I'm looking at it for the residents in the neighborhood. If I lived there, I wouldn't want it either. So, cost is one thing and aesthetics in a neighborhood is another.
And one thing I'll note to the board, we see this time and time and again with planning boards, is discussion about landscaping, or are there ways that we could mitigate the visual impact of the equipment on the ground? We'll note that the tower will be the height that it is, but there are landscaping choices or fencing choices that can be done to help alleviate the visuals on the ground.
Please don't come up with a 125-foot phony tree on it.
People have asked that. In the middle of the field, they say, well, can it be a monopine? You say, it can be, of course, but to have a single cell phone tower looking like a tree in the middle of the field might not be the aesthetic choice.
I don't know, but I just feel there's got to be a solution to make this work.
Yeah.
In everybody's best interest, so.
Hi, I'm Kathy Pomponi, I'm the project manager. I just wanted to kind of tell you, I can appreciate you were here for the first cell phone towers in the town of Webster. Just wanted to explain that back then, I've been doing this for 33 years, so I was involved with some of that as well. Back then, we had more flexibility as to where we could put, because we didn't have existing infrastructure in place. So now that there is existing infrastructure around where these coverage needs are, the search areas are becoming smaller, tighter, right? That is the reason why. I don't want you to think that we're appearing to be unreasonable. We're trying to work with you. We're frustrated too. But that is the reason why back then there was more flexibility. The search areas were larger. We had more flexibility as where we could put our initial infrastructure. Now that that infrastructure is in place, it's much more limited as to where we can be to solve the problem, because that infrastructure exists around it. Does that make sense?
It does, but on the other side of the coin, since those days back there in ancient history, there's new developments have come in too.
Understood.
So that's making it more difficult.
But those are the
I
communities that we're
understand,
trying to
appreciate
serve.
that.
Those are
That's where the
exactly the
problem
communities that we're trying to serve.
I understand that.
I'm not a telecommunications expert by any stretch. But it seems like there's a proliferation of new towers. Like we have a couple that were being considered for this town already.
Yes.
And the onus shouldn't be on us to always find new locations. You should accept some of the responsibility to modify your equipment to increase your coverage. And I think that there should be a balance associated.
Well, we always try to modify the equipment on existing infrastructure first. I mean, of course we would do that. We know that these are not popular. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't needed. If there was another way to solve this, we would do it.
Even with height,
Yeah,
it was suggested to increase
Yes.
the height of this one, but it would interfere with the other two. If you increase the height of the other two, would it solve this coverage?
no.
The problem is when you start assuming height variations in existing equipment, that's a whole lot of work and effort to be done on an existing tower. Can the tower actually take that height? So that it means we have to get a whole set of, rebuilding the tower basically. But then if you look at where these sites are, they're pretty close to the lake. When we get too high and close to the lake, we have to be concerned about interfering with Canada. Canada uses the same frequencies as we do, and if we proliferate across the lake, we're gonna interfere with them, then we're gonna have all sorts of really big FCC issues if we do that. So we have to maintain a proper heights for proper coverages, the balance is tricky with what I do, and we're always playing with what is the right height, what can we get away with. So I don't come in here lightly with these things. I know, we're not well liked for doing these things, but we're doing it for a reason. That's because everybody's using cell phones. We need coverage, we need to get to the areas we need to get to.
I appreciate the technical discussion.
Happy to have it.
But the other thing when I look at this, the circle looks to be idealized. And the location that you've picked is on the western edge of that idealized circle.
That's what we're given.
Can that circle shift? And how much if you shifted that circle a little bit to the east and to the south, would you pick up other additional properties that may be potential for leasing? And how much would you lose in the event?
I don't know property-wise, that's something that they'd have to scrub, I think.
That's really an our question that
I think Bob looked at quite a bit of those things, and there wasn't anything in there other than this spot. He did review that.
Correct.
That was within that circle, though,
Yeah.
we're talking about shifting the
No,
circle.
he did that.
Oh,
And those, we looked at the map, actually, Sven, we actually had the map in front of us, looking at it and going through it, and how about this one, how about that? And even to the residential houses across on the north side of the road, would it fit there? And that's all residential, but would somebody possibly, But that didn't work either, apparently.
Right, that search area cannot move. That search area is what it was identified as being the search area necessary to solve the coverage gap. That's the information presented here in the supplemental information and is shown in Exhibit F, that, this is where RF needs to be. Again, the analysis is not done by, we found a site, let's see if we can put something there. It is done by RF identifying where they need the tower to be and where they need the tower to be centrally located. I think in Tim's ideal world, it would be in the middle of County Line Road. That's in the very center of the circle. That's the ideal place to be within the ideal search area. The fact that it is closer to the east, it still works from an RF perspective, but to be further outside that ring, every movement is farther and farther away from being able to remedy the coverage gap that we're seeking to remedy.
Just an assumption, just suppose that area was a wetland or a big pond or something there. Where would they put the tower then?
We'd probably cancel the ring or wouldn't provide coverage there.
Yeah.
It'd just be the
See,
sore
what would
spot.
you do with the tower?
What's that?
Where would you have to locate a tower then?
I would probably head south to find something to just, if we needed it. Like, I don't know what I'd do actually in that case. If we had nothing there,
It's a hypothetical.
this is, always the gamble we get is like, okay, I can't solve it, nothing can go there. Well, what do I do? I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, I think you need to look at something or relocate it somehow, do whatever. I've mentioned 2 short towers, you say it doesn't work, I don't know, that's beyond me, but anybody? Dave or
No, I'm certainly not in favor of that site.
I understand the need for the tower.
What's that?
I understand the need for the tower.
Absolutely.
And then, based on the information that's been provided and the the effort that they put in for locating, and it does sound like this is the location.
That's what they're saying.
So I have no other reason to not believe them.
I just quick question. So when you look at the coming down County Line Road, County Line Road, there's that triangular area where you want to put it. I mean, you're talking about minimal feet from that triangle area past a little, it looks like a little road or some type of gravel road.
This is a little.
To the other side of these electrical towers. Is there some particular reason why there's a hedgerow already? It's kind of not away from the road. It's kind of covered by that hedgerow that are near the electrical towers. Is there a reason why the farmer wouldn't want it like on the other side of those electrical?
Can you specifically point out, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
confirm, you mean on the existing site?
So if you-
The existing proposed site, can it be moved south?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
your
see, there's,
question?
if you could, I don't know if they could put this up on the screens, but if you look at, up a little higher, no, so there's the triangular area that has where you're gonna put the tower. There's already a hedgerow that's on looks like the property line. I mean, you're talking about,
Yeah.
I don't believe the tower's going in that triangular area, the tower's going in
It's over here.
in the place where it says.
Oh, okay,
97%
Correct, yes.
feet.
Yeah.
You know, so you have
Yeah, I gotcha.
whatever that weird thing is.
And,
yeah.
and that vegetation is anticipated to stay. And again, if there's other landscaping that can be done to help mitigate
So it's
the
not going
appearance of the
there.
equipment, we always welcome those.
You know, the thought of, landscaping is good. I mean, you put something around it, but that really doesn't do anything to, because that stretch of road is straight down Lake Road. If you're going east, it's a straight run down. And if you're going west, you're coming around that corner, it's right in front of you all the way.
If
Anyways, we can talk all night long on it. We're not gonna get anywhere with it. My opinion is, I think there's an alternative. I think something should be able to be worked out with that farm property right there to locate it where we first suggested. I'm firm on that, my opinion anyways. So with that,
If I may add, just in the discussion of the view shed, I want to draw your attention to Exhibit K. That's a good visualization of where the anticipated view shed would be. Exhibit K of the application. So just as you're considering it, and thinking about as you were talking about driving down Lake Road, I wanted to offer, Exhibit K is showing the proposed view shed.
are any of you guys neighbors there, or you're all neighbors there? You folks are also? What if they, I'm thinking back, a long time ago, Waste Management, a little off the topic here, obviously. Waste Management came in over on Basket Road, and the neighbors were opposed to them putting the garage and all the trucks and stuff there. And they negotiated a deal with the neighbors. They gave them free pickup or something. You guys ever considered doing that? I'm out of the box, but,
I think he's referred to like a good neighbor agreement.
yeah. Something to accommodate the neighbors? If it had to be there? I don't know, I'm just,
That sounds something
I've never.
I don't know if you've ever done that or not. I was just thinking about that particular incident on Basket Road.
You don't want to put it here.
Try anything. Something to appease the neighbors that are affected by this the most. Maybe it's something you guys can think about and work out. I'm sorry?
There's
I
always.
can't hear you, gotta use the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. There's always gonna be neighbors that are affected by it, no matter where we put it. It's just the way it is, it's how this works.
Okay. Guess not then, all right. Okay, I guess we all just move forward and do what we gotta do at this point.
Well, and I'll note to the extent, again, for the board's consideration, that, we are highly regulated by the FCC. We are a public utility under New York State law. We are also highly regulated by the Telecommunications Act of 1996. This is a pretty well preempted body of law when it comes to the siting of cell phone towers. We have done this time and time again. We have located the narrowest search area that we could, or the most pinpoint of the search area that we can be in. We've reviewed whether or not that search area can be expanded. We have scrubbed additional properties to see if there was any other feasible locations. To the extent there is RF data that it can be quite dense. In other municipalities have taken advantage of seeking a consultant of its own. So we do offer, we offer these as notes of, we understand the planning board's hesitation or the planning board's viewpoint of aesthetics and location, but this field is quite crowded by the Telecommunications Act of 1996 through case law regarding the public utility standard. And to the extent it feels boxed in or feels hampered in, candidly it is. It is because of the Telecommunications Act of 1996 and because of the public utility standard. So we would welcome a conversation with the planning board, again, about landscaping, about fences, if there's other mitigation efforts that can be done to help address the aesthetics of the equipment tower at least, or I'm sorry, the equipment facility at least. Or again, seeking a review by a professional consultant about the RF data.
Can I join the out-of-the-box group here for a minute? You had mentioned about Canada and having to protect infringing on Canadian. Could you elaborate more on what you had to do?
What exactly you mean?
Well, when you're talking about locating of the cell towers, okay?
Yeah.
Do you take into effect, for example, you're going up north to the lake and what kind of mileage or area that the Canadians have and we have, the United States?
Yes. So the border between the U.S. and Canada is basically considered in the middle of the lake, Lake Ontario.
Okay, like it is for the radio, okay.
Yeah. So that's where radio signal waves, that's where we're basically considered stay away, but basically it becomes serving. We don't want to interfere with the Canadian service on the Canadian side of their land mass, actually. But we are regulated by FCC to not go past the actual border in the middle of the lake. We do that by regulating tower sizes, by powers, by down tilts. We've got ways we can do it. It just gets harder the closer we get to that lake, because when signal hits the lake, it just starts skipping and takes off. So we do our best to stay away from being on lakes like that to mitigate that.
The reason I bring this up, and I'm probably all wrong about it, and if I am, I apologize, but Canada has a series of repeater stations along the northern shore of the lake. There's a station in Toronto that carries into Cobourg, that carries up the St. Lawrence. It's radio, it has nothing to do with cells. But can there be, and here comes the question, which I'm going to get hung up on, can there be a type of a repeater station here for cell towers? That where you could put it so they, you know what I'm trying to say, you have one at the bay or you have one up here at the...
Doesn't really work the same way if you think
It's different
about
technology,
as a radio,
okay.
like a radio tower and those signals. Their powers are magnitudes higher than what we run at. So doing repeaters, we'd have to have repeaters every 50 feet.
And how big would a repeater be?
It depends on what we'd be trying to do, but I mean, you can't, repeaters don't really work in an RF environment because the biggest problem with a repeater, it's still the same site, just being repeated over and over. So that site, if it has traffic capacity issues, You're just, you're extending that coverage zone of that site to be just repeated over and over again. So now you're just making it cover a larger area than it is currently.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we're not gonna get very far with this tonight anyways. We've pretty much spoken our pieces. See where it goes from here, I guess. I'm disappointed in it. I'm actually disappointed with the owner of the property for not being a good neighbor and cooperating, willing to cooperate with his neighbors. That's very disappointing, but it is what it is. Okay, anybody else?
No, I agree with
Any other
that.
comments? That's it? Okay, I guess that's it then.
Thank you.
Okay.
So is this back on the calendar then next month?
I have no idea what they're scheduled, I don't know.
It depends on applicant.
When they put their application in, I'm sorry?
We've heard a lot of comments from Verizon tonight, it was supposed to just be an administrative.
Oh, yeah, that's all it was.
When are the neighbors?
No, that would have to come up, that would have to come up again.
Okay.
Yeah, this would just bring us up to
I
date.
mean, I've spoken to New York State about this, the Department of Transportation is very concerned about it.
Mhm.
I'd like to pass that information on.
That would be good, absolutely. Pass that right over to Josh or whoever, yeah, or Erica. I'm sorry?
To your council, perhaps?
Yeah, you could give it to him or give it to, probably go right to the, Josh or Erica. And they'd forward it to whoever needed to get it.
Okay, great.
That would be good. All right, I guess that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Have a good one. And what else have we got?
We got the March 3rd meeting minutes. I'll make a
Okay, go ahead.
motion for approval of the March 3rd meeting minutes. Can I get a second?
Motion, got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good. That was the last meeting. All right, well, I guess that's it for this